Oh, we live! Yay, yay, yay! Good morning, everybody. Good
Good
morning. You can
morning.
keep drinking your coffee,
You
okay?
saw me.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Hope Victoria Studios. I am Reverend Wanda Martin Woodard, and I'm the CEO and founder of Hope Victorious. I'm so super excited today to have a guest with me. I'm just going to switch and just post this to my other page. You can share it also, Ty, too.
Okay.
Thank you, Father. I'm going to share this to my other pages, and then we're going to get started. And welcome everybody, those who are on YouTube, those who are watching the replay. God bless you. God bless you. On this morning. So I'm so super excited about today. All things wellness, all things stress on
Yes.
today. So
Yeah.
we're gonna have some great, good conversations, some meaningful conversations, and I am just blessing God. So Coach Ty is a member of my church, St. Paul Chapel Baptist Church, or overseer Joshua Gooden, and I just bless God for him, and also I bless God for Ty on today. Coming on, she's a wellness and health coach. She's a registered nurse. She'll fill you in about herself, but I bless God for her. She also has a podcast, and I just love the great things that she's doing. When God laid on my heart for her to come on, I'm like, okay, God, let's go. And she said, yes, I'll come on. So I was
Yes.
like so super excited about it. And I'm tired. If you see any comments that come up, I'm trying to get them on. You can always just let me know. Read them. I don't see any right now, but Restream is a little funny because sometimes they'll show and sometimes they won't.
Okay.
But yeah, let me see something. Yeah, so maybe they'll show now, like if they come on. But those who are watching the replay, so good morning to everybody coming on, and happy holidays that's coming up. So, Coach Todd, you just can introduce yourself and just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay. Well, you introduced me extremely well, but
Mhm.
hi everyone. Good morning. Good morning. I am Coach Ty. As Reverend Wanda said, I am a registered nurse. I am a wellness coach, and I am the founder of the Health and Wellness Company, which is a healing space for women, in
Mhm.
which we really encourage women to try and take a deep dive into how they feel mentally,
Yeah.
emotionally, physically, and spiritually, because we know
Mhm.
as women, we're always doing stuff, right? We're always taking care of
Yes.
others, and we sometimes neglect ourselves. And then we realize later on that our bodies are telling us to slow down, or, we get sick, or even mentally, we're not feeling like ourselves. So, my
Mhm.
goal and my passion and my calling is to really allow women or make spaces for women to just take a pause and
Yeah.
inventory of where they are and where they would like
Mhm.
to be. Okay,
Mhm.
because where you are, even if you don't feel that well mentally, physically, emotionally, you don't have to
Mhm.
stay there. There's resources out here for you. So thank you again for having me. I'm
Yes.
always
Yes.
tuning in to
Yes.
movie with me anyway, and I love it. So to be on here as a guest is like, I'm excited.
Me too. And can I tell you all? Let me tell you, we were training for the 5K run from the Rocky Run together.
Yes.
It was so dope, so
Yeah.
awesome, and we had such a great time at the Rocky Run. And
Hmm.
we both do different paces. I mean, she is
Yeah.
like a further pace, a higher pace than mine. So
Just a
we
little
both
bit. Just a little bit.
made it to the finish line. But I bless God for many more races that we will be a part of, and just
Yeah.
really just tapping into our health and wellness. And I
Yeah.
just love that part. So it's no age that you can actually put on there to say, hey, you too old, you too young, you
Right.
middle age. It just health doesn't have any requirement. Only requirement it has if you could to continue to be healthy and stay alive. Amen.
Right.
So on this morning, we're going to be talking about. We're going to tap into some things. Also, before the chat is out, she will put in the link where you can also register for. Is every third? Is it every first or second
Second
Saturday?
Thursday.
Second Thursday.
Second Thursday. Yeah.
Every second Thursday of the month. So she'll put a link when you can register. And also, how could they follow you? Also.
So on Instagram, I am bowtie BOWTAI_. That's my
Uh huh.
personal Instagram page, and then you will see
Mhm.
my business page on there. I am
Mhm.
also on TikTok. I feel like, one of the young kids now, I'm on TikTok
Yeah, I'm
as
on it
the,
too.
yeah, oh, yes, you are. Yes, you are. The wellness coach underscore.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
So I'll
and
be
I'll
sure.
go in and after you could put it in the chat so people can know how to find you and how to register as well. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Good morning, Patrice. Good morning, Penny. So on and those who are watching the replay, good morning to those on YouTube. Good morning to everyone. Also on my personal page, good morning to everyone. And personal page is probably not going to pop up here in the comments, but I'll go back later and respond, and you could do the same. But on this morning, I wanted to talk about some of the things of like what do you suggest in this season that we going in, and I know a lot of people are missing their loved ones, and sometimes we do stressful eating.
Yeah.
But what are some of the things, ways that we can try to prevent going to those stress modes and just stress eating? Like what would you suggest for us going into that? So we won't, when you hit those stressful times, like in
Yeah.
people say like at 10 o'clock at night is when those fat cells be like, no, craving something sweet. But how do
Mhm.
you overcome the
Yeah.
stressful eating? Like, what are some of the ways?
So the first thing that I think is important to do is to really become aware of what's really going on.
Mm-hmm.
And because sometimes we don't, a lot of us, we don't like to feel uncomfortable feelings, right? Like we don't
Mm-hmm.
want to be sad, we don't want to be hurt, we don't want to be in pain emotionally.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So we have habits, or we have started to form habits that will make us kind of ignore what's really going on, and now we can
Mm-hmm.
focus on that. Like, I'm
Okay.
sad right now, and I
Mm-hmm.
think what will make me happy is like a pint of ice cream. So I'm gonna just get the
Yes.
ice cream instead of
Okay.
sitting with my feeling and really journaling about it, or
Mm-hmm.
talking to somebody about it.
Yes.
I'm gonna eat, or I'm gonna drink whatever I want, because that's gonna make me
Yeah.
feel better. So
Okay.
I think the first thing that I would recommend is really to be aware of what's really going on, especially around holiday season. Because, like you said, there's a lot of people who have lost loved ones, or even if they haven't lost loved ones, having holiday dinners can bring up a lot of anxiety because of family dynamics. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? So it's like, okay, let me just, I'm uncomfortable. It's holiday season now. It's shopping that I got to do. I got to be around that uncle or that aunt that I may not care to be around, and they give me
Yeah.
anxiety. They stress me out.
Yes.
So
Uh-huh.
just, let me eat, or let me do this or that. So I think the first thing is just, again, gaining awareness and not judging yourself for it. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Not saying,
Yes.
oh, well, I got to be strong. My grandma passed away 20 years ago. Why am I still feeling like this? Like,
Mm-hmm.
no,
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't matter how long it's been. If you're in pain, you're in pain. And I think
That's right.
we ignore that pain and just try to cope with it, sometimes in unhealthy ways, including with food, then it backfires. Then we can run
Mm.
into some of those health problems like the high blood pressure, or if you're diabetic, the high blood sugars, or
Okay.
weight
Okay.
gain, right? Or gaining weight. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
that's a health challenge as well. So like I said, I think the first thing is just really checking in with your mind and your body and even your spirit to say, like, what's going on with me right now, and how can
Mm-hmm.
I cope with it in a healthy way? Do I need to call somebody who I trust and talk about it, even though it's
Yes.
really pain? Do I need to
Mm-hmm.
write it down? Do I need to journal about it? Do I need
Mm-hmm.
to maybe go back to things I did when I was younger that brought me joy? Do I need to get a coloring book and just kind of
Yeah.
color and take my
Mm-hmm.
mind off? Even if I'm still thinking about it, I'm doing something that brings me joy also.
Yes.
I'm not
Uh-huh.
just sitting in this terrible feeling that I have right now.
Yes, yes, yes. Yeah, I thank you for that because sometimes we don't know how to alter those feelings and we just go right in, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
And I did not know it was years ago when I did, and not to shift the conversation, but it was years ago, and I was actually watching TV. I was up late,
Hmm.
and a commercial came on, and it said how women carry a lot of stress
Yeah.
in their midsection, in their stomach, and I'm like, we do.
Mhm.
Like we do. Like I didn't know, and I had asked my mom, and she said, "Yeah, women carry a lot of stress in their midsection. That's
Mhm.
why sometimes you see a lot. That's not everybody's case, but sometimes you see a lot of
Yeah.
women are
Yeah.
bloating. A lot of in their stomach. And I'm like, wow, I
Mhm.
just didn't know that. So I start looking at my stomach, and I'm like, wow. And
Mhm.
at that time,
Mhm.
I never had a stomach. After I had children, it just didn't. But
Wow.
I'm like, wow. And I know I was stressing about some things, and I'm like, okay, so is that my situation right now?
Mhm.
And I don't believe that was a coincidence. I truly believe that God was bringing awareness to me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Being
Yeah.
open, like, honey, you stressing right now, and
Yeah.
you wearing all
Yeah.
in your midsection. And I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
So I
Mhm.
started doing some things about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And one of the things I just wanted to say on this morning. Good morning, Sandy. How are you? I wanted to say that a lot of times going into this season about 2 years ago when I became a vegan,
Mhm.
um, going through pre-diabetes and hypertension, and I didn't want to be full-blown diabetic. You know what I'm saying? So going into that, it was a lot of things that I had to change for my life, and
Right.
that and sometimes you lose different things, like in terms of going out. Everybody don't want to go out to eat
Right.
anymore because they find that when you get there, I have to question the menu. I have to, and I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, that's
Mhm.
totally fine. So now I know, so I won't look like the dinosaur with my friends, not even my friends, dinosaur with other people. If they say where we going, I will look over the menu to
Yeah.
make sure that it's something on it that I can eat.
Mhm.
And you do have those people who really look out for you and say, hey, I didn't already checked out the menu. Girl, they got this or they had that. But sometimes you can really find when you start cutting back on certain foods, when you start being more healthy or
Mhm.
health conscious, people make you feel like it's something that you're doing wrong.
Oh, absolutely.
So and I'm like, why is that
Yeah.
when I'm trying to stay
Yeah.
healthy? But then I find later on, years later, when they start going through health challenges, they're on my phone. And I never say, oh, hey, this
Yeah.
is how you made me feel
Yeah.
years ago. But
Yeah.
I'm not, because
Right.
I just feel like anything, every time there's a change, sometimes people don't adapt to change, whether it's with
Mhm.
you or with someone else. But as he was talking just briefly this morning about Daniel, which is Daniel chapter 1, verse 8, and when he refused to eat from the king's table, that was like a choice that he made, but he know that choice was just not so I could feel good. No, that choice was because so I could stay alive and so I can do the work that God has called me to do.
Amen.
And I think sometimes when we look at food, we look at it. I mean, food is a relationship. I ain't gonna lie.
Absolutely.
Because honey, I'll be like in the bed, morning food, like I want a hoagie. I'm from Philadelphia. I want a hoagie. I want a cheesesteak, and I'm actually morning food, but that feeling just moves past. So, but I don't know. Do you want to comment on something like that? I
Yeah.
don't even know why I went there, but that's just how I feel
No,
about
I think that's a great conversation to have because again, like
it.
I think when we think about people who have unhealthy coping mechanisms, we always go
Hmm.
straight to like alcohol and drugs sometimes, right? And we
Hmm.
overlook the things that are meant to do us good, like eating, like food, nutrition. We don't look at that as a substance as well that we can
Hmm.
be
Hmm.
abusing, you know?
Hmm.
Um, we're meant to eat obviously to nourish our body to give it the nutrients that it needs, but at the same time again if we're not identifying why we eat certain things or why we're more prone to eat at certain hours of the night, we're just
Hmm.
it's a codependent relationship. And
Okay.
I mean, there's shows like My 600 Pound Life, and I look at that not from a just pure entertainment because a lot of those
Hmm.
people on those shows or on that show, they have like stories. They have
Hmm.
things that have happened to them that they didn't go to drinking, they didn't go to drugs, they didn't go to other unhealthy ways of coping. They went to food. Food became their companion. So what
Hmm.
you said about morning food, especially since you're vegan now, that's real. And I think sometimes
Hmm.
even as a culture, right? This is
Hmm.
how we eat. This is like your culture has a lot to do with our habits and our patterns. So
Hmm.
sometimes we're like, well, this is just how everybody in my family cook. This is how my grandma been cooking. This is my mom cooked. This is how I cook. But it's like, okay, well, that's fine. And also if we want to bring in the cultural aspect, as Black people, we had to survive. Like
Yeah.
we ate the unhealthy stuff our ancestors did anyway, and some maybe depending on what age you are, but because that was a means of survival.
That's
We
right.
we
Yeah.
didn't have access to fruits and vegetables. We didn't have access to lean protein. You was eating
Mm-hmm.
that pig. You was eating every part to make sure you had
Yes.
something to eat. Right?
That's right.
You doing the chitlins. You doing the pork chop. Like you doing all kinds of like you're
Mm-hmm.
eating. We're taking what we can because we need to. We have large families and we need to feed.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of
Right.
times that just passes down from generation to generation. And it's an amazing thing that we were resilient, right? We were able to
Yeah.
take the worst of the worst and make something happen. I mean, we still doing that, but at a certain point, not with judgment again, or not with shame, but we have to take a step back to say, hey, I know my grandma and my mom and I cook like this, but we all struggling with high blood pressure.
Yeah.
All struggling with hormonal issues.
Mm-hmm.
All now are pre-diabetic or diabetic, and we all are obese. We're all overweight.
Mm-hmm.
And black women, 58% of black women are obese, are overweight.
Mm.
That's way more than.
Right.
And again, when I have these conversations, even on my own platform, it is never a means of shame or guilt or making somebody
Yeah.
about themselves or pointing the finger like, oh, well, y'all need to do better. It's not, no. It's we have been through a lot, not only as women, but as black people, and we survived. And that's a blessing. But at a certain
Mm-hmm.
we have to look at the statistics and the numbers to say, hey, why are we struggling with this at an
Yeah.
astronomical rate compared to our counterparts?
Yes, that's right. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
I
also,
even though like it's a part of our culture, and I be watching YouTube clips and videos and things like that, and I see that that was the way we survived, eating hogs and stuff like that,
yeah,
so we can put something in our stomachs. But I think as some of us, even it is people who are like 70, 80 years old who
mhm,
actually shifted the way they started eating because they know what was fed to us,
yeah,
in those times wasn't the most healthiest food, but
mhm,
this is what I'm going to do so I can keep living. And
exactly,
that's what I love about our culture, that we will turn and do something different if we fight for
absolutely,
our lives to live. And
absolutely,
I love it when people accommodate you. Like my friend
yeah,
Sandy, when I come over, she always surprises me because she know I am a pescatarian too. I just don't eat no dairy and stuff, but I do eat fish occasionally. So
okay,
she'll have some salmon or something with me, and it just makes you feel really good when
yeah,
people don't look like you just see a dinosaur in the room. Oh, because this is not what you eat anymore. You know what
yeah,
I'm saying? Because she doesn't eat meat either, but she always just makes sure she accommodates me. And I don't know, even down to my string beans. I didn't put no butter in there. I just put olive oil or something like that, little seasoning salt. I made sure no animal derivatives in there.
yeah,
So it just makes you feel really good when people respect. I think it's a respect thing too. Because
absolutely,
people could just shame you. Like people say, oh, they fat shaming. No, people can vegan shame you too,
mhm,
okay?
mhm,
Or make you feel like something that you're doing is so wrong
it's wrong,
when
yeah,
you're just trying to live.
right,
And it's crazy because I see how some people could eat in moderation. They could cut back on their pork, they could cut
yeah,
back on their turkey,
yeah,
and their blood work come back good. Everything come back good. Well, mine's everything was still out of whack. You know
mm,
what I'm saying? So I'm like, look, I got to do something about me. Make sure I'm getting my
yeah,
protein in. And people say, oh,
absolutely,
you got to get protein in by meat. It's all kind of stuff that you get protein by your beans
yeah,
and everything else. So it's
yeah,
just not the meat that you get protein from. So you just
right,
got to do the research and just learn how to live. But I'm glad you brought that up about a cultural thing because
yeah,
this is what they fed us.
yeah.
Our ancestors, our loved ones, what they fed, and they had to survive. They had to survive.
Exactly. They had to survive. And to your point of like your friends, some friends being able, like accommodating you, I think that sometimes when we're doing something different
Mm-hmm.
than than how we were raised or what was the norm for our culture or our family,
Mm-hmm.
it kind of like, not that you're trying to do this or somebody who's vegan or vegetarian is trying to do this, but I think when you do that and you're very steadfast in your decision, like, no, this is, I'm sorry if you think I'm being difficult, but this, I can't have this. This has meat in it.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
When you are that steadfast in it and your choices, I think sometimes it kind of like indirectly makes somebody have to now evaluate their own behavior, right?
Yeah.
Because
Mm-hmm.
it's like, are they trying to do that, or are you trying to get them like, oh, y'all need to stop eating meat? No, not at all. But I
Mm-hmm.
think that sometimes when you see somebody making healthy changes that's totally
Uh-huh.
out of what you are accustomed to,
Yeah.
it kind of just now be like, well, am I doing something wrong? Should I
Yes.
be cutting down on, the
Yeah.
pork? And like,
Mm-hmm.
and that can be uncomfortable because we know shifting and changing is not always easy. Well,
Yes.
most times it's not. It's
Mm-hmm.
necessary, right? It's necessary to grow and change.
Right. Necessary. Yeah.
But
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't mean that it's easy. Like, okay, I need to lose 20 pounds. No problem. No big deal. Like, no, it's not
Mm-hmm.
like that. It's like, wow, this is a total rearrangement of my life and my choices. So I
Yeah.
think, again, that sometimes it may not even be directed towards the person. It's more so like, well, if I make it seem like you the eyeball, then I
Mm-hmm.
won't feel bad about these terrible choices that I might be making that I never even thought of as, oh, well, yeah, well, maybe that is why my blood pressure been higher. I've been getting headaches. I
Yeah.
never thought about that. Maybe I am putting too much salt on my dinner, just shaking salt, not even tasting it first to see if it needs salt. Maybe,
Yeah.
this is why these conversations are necessary, especially us being in the wellness space, so that people
Mm-hmm.
can just connect the dots. Now,
Yeah.
if all the dots are connected and you still choose to live your life however you want to, even if maybe it's not, you're not that healthy or you're struggling, that's totally on you. And that's why, again, for me, I don't shame anybody in terms of like, oh, you need to work out more, you need to do this, because it was something I had to come to. But it was
Yeah.
a personal experience of gaining weight, feeling terrible. So now I'm
Mm-hmm.
gaining weight. I'm bigger than I ever been. My confidence
Mm-hmm.
is low. Now I'm a
Yeah.
little depressed because I don't feel attractive. Like, it was all just connected. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I
Yep.
had to make that
Mm-hmm.
change. So that's why I want to create spaces for women to have these open conversations so we can say, look, I'm not saying you need to lose weight. I'm not saying you need to gain weight. But at least let me bring you this information, especially with my nursing background, and you
Yes.
do with it what you please. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
If you
Yeah,
want
that's
to
right.
change it,
Uh-huh.
I'm here for you. Let's talk about
Yeah.
it.
That's right. Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah. What are some of the when we were talking last week about why do women like carry so much stress? Like, for example, I was downtown a few years ago.
Hmm.
This was years and years ago. And I said to my mom, I said in my early 20s, and I said, Mom, I said, how come it was a married couple down there? I knew they were married. And I said, Mom, I said, how come women look so much older than the man?
Mm.
And she said, because women carry a lot of stress, more
Yeah,
stress. And
yeah,
I said, and I just like, wow, and it's crazy how you could be married for so, and I'm not saying because of the marriage, but I'm just saying, just how women just carry so much
yeah,
stress. Like, like why, like we carry so much stress. We just carry stress and then it comes out in different ways,
yeah.
like, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I'm glad that we're having this conversation because
Mm-hmm.
as I am getting ready or planning for 2026 at the
Uh-huh.
wellness company, I'm really doing my due diligence to find out what are issues that women are really struggling with, that
Uh-huh. Yes.
they really want and need help with. And stress came up and I felt a little like, why didn't you think about this? Like, it's so
Yeah.
obvious. But I think, again, as women, we take on so much that we don't even realize that we're stressed.
Yeah.
Where
Yeah.
if you're a mother, right? You are
Mm-hmm.
carrying the load of your children, and not only when they're little, but as they get older. Moms, like, I'm still calling my mom to this day, needing stuff.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
so you're being a nurturer now. If you're in a
Yeah.
marriage and have kids, now you're being a nurturer to your kids. You're being
Mm-hmm.
a spouse to your husband. Let's say
Yeah.
you work in church, right? That's
Mm-hmm.
ministry. So you're serving others. You work, so you're an employee serving others. Like,
Mm-hmm.
so as women, we have
Yeah.
so many different roles. And
Mm-hmm.
as I was doing my research on stress, I like numbers, right? Like, I like
Mm-hmm.
statistics. That's probably my nursing background, where we had to do so
Yes.
many projects on evidence-based practice. Like, we're not just
Yeah.
doing
Okay.
it because we think it makes sense. No, we're doing something because enough research has shown that this is effective. So
Mm-hmm.
even in my own business, I like looking at numbers because I feel like sometimes when you give people numbers, it like kind of resonates with them. Like, oh snap, you said 58% of Black women are obese. That's more than half. Like, that's
Wow.
not in that category. Numbers sometimes makes you really look at things.
Yes.
So as I was looking up stress and trying to get numbers, I kid you not, like, I could not even get like I couldn't even say, yeah, well, 65% of women are stressed out, because there were
Yes.
so many different areas where it was just so many percentages. It was just so like, stress about health, stress about finances, stress about relationships, stress about family dynamics and family responsibilities. Like there were just so many categories that stress applied to for women. Women in all of those categories were at a high, like high. Like men were a lot lower. And I don't know if that's because men don't always talk about what's stressing them out. That could be a small part of it, but I think the majority of it is we as women, we wear many hats on levels, and we do an excellent job of just handling it, And whenever we're having this conversation about stress, it's always imperative to bring in, again, cultural relation. Because we're Black women, and not that our message is only for Black women, but Black women and Black people have a very unique past, unique history that we're still dealing with to this day. So I just want to share something with you, if that's okay.
Go ahead.
Actually, two things, because the thing people don't realize too is stress is normal. Stress is just the state of worry or tension caused by a different situation. So healthy stress is a thing, right? Where let's say you're in school, you got a test coming up. You a little stressed, so now you're going to study better. Or let's say you have to give a sermon on Sunday. You know that people will be listening to you. This is important. You got a little bit of stress. That's going to make you prepare better. Or you're about to get married. You're about to go in for a surgery or procedure. Your body is naturally going to be a little stressed out, but more than likely that healthy stress is going to just make you just handle your business and get some things in order, right? Stress becomes an issue when it goes on for too long, and now your body and your mind is in a heightened state of activity. Because if we know something is coming up, like even this morning on this call, I know I'm just talking to you, Reverend Wanda, but it still was just like a little bit of something there, like, okay, you got to get yourself together. But again, that made me wake up in time, make my coffee. You know what I mean? I had something there that had me like, all right, let me get myself together because I don't want to be rushing and I don't want to be all over the place. So it was normal stress, naturally, even as we're talking, it's going down, it's fine. But the problem is that when you're anxious about stuff and you're stressed, you're at that 100% for like weeks, months, years at a time. That's when your body is going to say, look, I'm not meant to be in this state all the time. I know that you've gotten a little bit accustomed to it, but hell, I'm going to show you that it's too much for me. That's why I'm having headaches. That's why my stomach is upset, or like either I can't eat, or when I do eat, it's upset. I'm having now constipation or diarrhea. This is why I'm tired all the time. Because you got me at 100% and I need you to bring it down to 10 right now, because there's nothing going on that should cause this amount of stress. So like I said, stress in itself is a normal reaction to different situations that causes us to perform better. Stress becomes an issue when we're in that heightened state for far too long. Okay. And our body is going to compensate for a long period of time, right? Because God made our bodies like that to say, okay, I don't really think I should be at this 85%. You got me, but we good. We're good. Everything is good. But then once this time period is going on too long, you got me stressed out for months and years. Now I gotta show you that we can't live like this.
Yes.
And a lot of people don't put the two together. Oh, why am I having headaches? Why do I always feel on edge? Why am I always agitated or mad or angry for the slightest things? Something, okay, it's justified, but he or she ain't even do nothing, and I'm snapping.
Right.
Why am I not? Why do I always feel like I'm on the verge of tears? I can't sleep. I can't fall asleep. I'm up all night. And if you're a married woman or a woman, who is in a committed relationship or whatever the case may be, why do I not feel like as a woman I want to do things with my husband or my man? Why is that now taking a back seat? It's because again, our bodies are in a heightened state for far too long. So very quickly, I just want to share with you from the American Board of Professional Psychology. What we're talking about now is chronic stress. When stress is going on for far too long. So the stress that your mom probably was talking to you about when she said, well, that's chronic stress, meaning going on for a while and our bodies are now showing us. So Chronic stress is a pervasive issue that significantly impacts our mental and physical well-being. It's,
Mm-hmm.
it's defined as a prolonged state of physical and psychological arousal that
Mm-hmm.
results in an increased load or cumulative wear and tear on the body.
Mm-hmm.
Chronic stress
Mm-hmm.
has been linked to health issues such as hypertension, heart disease, anxiety,
Mm-hmm.
depression, chronic pain, and IBS or irritable bowel syndrome.
Okay.
The
Mm-hmm.
constant activation of the stress response system can eventually impair your immune function, meaning you might get sick a lot more. It can
Okay.
also disrupt your sleep patterns, and it can even alter your brain structures over time.
Mm-hmm.
Although many experience chronic stress, Black women are uniquely affected due to systemic inequities,
Mm-hmm.
historical trauma, and cultural expectations.
Mm-hmm.
Stereotypes such as the strong Black woman and the angry Black woman further compound these stressors, often leading to emotional suppression, meaning we're not talking about how we feel, but also
Mm-hmm.
overextension, where we're doing so much for others that we're overextending ourselves. And that
Okay.
is from the American Board of Professional Psychology. And I just thought that was important to mention from a reputable source how stress is affecting us or can affect
Mm-hmm.
and what that stress can also be due to.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That was good right there. Thank you for that. Yeah. Yeah. It was just amazing just to see for my mom to share that with me. And it's good when you take jewels and nuggets from your aunts, from communities, from people who you don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like because I don't know, stress can and I didn't even know stress as a young age, my mom, and stress could kill you. You know what I'm
Oh,
saying? Just so stressed out about different things in life can actually kill you.
yeah,
One of the ways that I know I relieve stress is working out or running
absolutely.
or going
Yeah,
to the gym or finding something healthy for me to look at on TV, to
absolutely.
relieve that. And sometimes people don't know how to release stress. They just don't, they just
Yeah,
continue to be stressed out because when you come out the gym, you still gonna be faced with the same thing. But maybe if you go to the gym or maybe if you do something healthy like watching a great TV show that's inspirational, maybe your views and everything will change. Or how about more so pray? How
absolutely.
about prayer?
Absolutely. Yeah,
How
yeah,
about that to
yeah,
relieve stress, knowing that God has everything worked out for you. So what you see is not what you really see because
exactly.
He didn't already worked it out by your faith.
Amen.
It's already done.
Amen.
So if you start with prayer,
Yeah,
and you start with some fasting and you just start
absolutely.
with trusting God on different situations, which really would relieve a lot of stress. But
Yes,
that's another thing that sometimes we don't use God as a go-to. We don't go to God
absolutely.
like as a
Yeah.
go-to. No,
Oh
He's
yeah.
my go-to.
Oh
And
yeah.
not just my go-to to relieve the stress. He's my go-to because I love and I trust him and
Amen.
because he's my friend. You know what I'm
Amen.
saying?
Yes.
So and if you
Yes.
pray about it,
Yep.
you know that he will relieve the stress from you. You
Yeah.
just got to give it to him because what looks like
Absolutely.
on what's black and white on paper, I look at it as that's not really what I see. What
Mm,
I see is that this thing is approved. What I see is this thing is going to work out for me. So that's
yeah.
the way how I relieve stress in
Yeah.
my life.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's not an easy thing, but
Right.
you got to trust God in that process no matter what you see. I don't care if you see a foreclosure come in,
Yeah.
just know that God is going to work that foreclosure out for you and that He is going to provide for you. So He's my
Yes.
stress reliever. And I
Amen.
just don't go to Him to relieve the stress. I go to Him because my love for Him. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
what do
Yeah.
friends do? And He is my friend. So
Yes, he
what do
is.
friends
Yeah.
do? They try to calm you down, help you relieve some of the stress, and see how they can be a help to you. Yeah,
Right. Right.
yeah.
No, I think the faith is so important, and I'm glad
Mm-hmm.
you brought that up because when it's just funny, and I laugh sometimes when I'm praying
Mm-hmm.
and talking to the Lord because it's
Mm-hmm.
like when He has a track record of doing things in your life, because
Yes.
someone else can tell you about their testimony, right? And
Mm-hmm.
you might be like, "Wow, that's amazing, that's crazy,"
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
but it doesn't hit the same because that's not your situation. But
Yes.
when
Yes.
you go to the Lord and you have a personal relationship with Him, and
Mm-hmm.
something is on your mind or something is really stressing you out, and
Yeah.
He, whatever that situation is, He does it, and then you just start to understand the way He works. Not that the Lord is a genie and is just going to grant us what we desire. That's not how He
Mm-hmm.
works. But knowing
Yeah.
So this is a two-way relationship. And I wouldn't
Mm-hmm.
even say it's reciprocal, right? Because we can't
Yes.
even give the Lord half of what
Mm-hmm.
he gives us. But it's a
Mm-hmm.
two-way street. Like I need you to come to me on your regular days. So that way what I say is like you build up your credit to the point
Yeah,
where
you know what I'm saying?
when
Yes.
you need him
Mm-hmm.
for that important heavy stuff, he's there. And I laugh because it's at the point now, and I'm like, Lord, please don't ever let me get too like arrogant in you, where I'm like, God got it. Like I can't be phased because the things he has done for me personally is not what he did for my mom, my grandma, my grandfather. No, I love that they shared their testimonies because that laid the foundation for me to
Yes.
know who he is. But once
Mm-hmm.
I invited him into my life and he
Mm-hmm.
started showing up for me in personal ways, it
Mm-hmm.
built that faith to the point where, like you said, stress is going to come. As long as we're on this earth, we're going to face difficult or different situations. Because remember,
Mm-hmm.
stress is a response to a different situation. And it's not always
Yes.
negative. It's not always bad.
Uh-huh. That's right. Uh-huh.
Listen, we was preparing for the 5K. I was a little stressed about that.
Oh,
You know,
sure.
because
Me
we want
too.
to perform well, right? You know,
Uh-huh.
we want to get, but again, that healthy stress gonna have me say, okay, Ty, you don't want to be looking crazy at that 5K. So how about you train in the weeks leading up to it? Get your running in, get your breath work together. So
Uh-huh.
healthy stress, I mean, that's fine. But when it comes to major issues, you just
Mm-hmm.
have to have that faith. To me, like you said, that's first and foremost. Prayer is first and foremost. But understand what relieves your stress. Because
Mm-hmm.
everything doesn't work for everybody. We love
That's
running.
right.
We love running, right?
Yeah.
Not everybody loves cardio. They might
Yeah.
prefer to do yoga or
Uh-huh.
Pilates or
That's
cycling.
right.
You know
Uh-huh.
what I mean? And
Mm-hmm.
some people, like I mentioned earlier, journaling. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's crazy how just expressing your feelings, whether it's you're writing them down, you're talking
Yeah.
to somebody, or let's say sometimes I'll use my phone and do like a video of myself, and because I don't
Mm-hmm.
feel like writing, but I need to get some things out.
Yeah.
There's so many different ways to relieve stress, and the one thing I also want to encourage women to do, no matter how old you are, think about the things that brought you joy when you were a child.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of those things that you can say, you know what, yeah, I used to love painting. I used to love coloring. I used to
Mm-hmm.
love whatever that might be. Don't ever think, oh, I'm too old to be doing that. No, those things that brought you joy can turn
Mm-hmm.
around and be your stress relievers. You know what?
Mm-hmm.
You have to have like your toolkit, so to speak, of like, all right, I'm getting a little stressed out. I know this is
Mm-hmm.
healthy stress because I got this huge promotion coming up at work, or I'm up for a promotion and I'm a little stressed. Let me do some things in the moment. Let me pray, of course. Let me do some
Mm-hmm.
things to calm me down, and just have your own toolkit. And don't let anybody shame you about, oh, you still coloring? Like, absolutely, I am. Yeah,
My dad used to
I,
love the color, and he was
yeah,
what 7 years old coloring, and boy, can he color! I
yeah,
mean, he loved watching TV and color. He just loved to
yeah,
color. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? So
yeah.
nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing
Yes,
wrong
uh-huh.
with whatever it is for you. It's so many different
And
activities.
that really calmed his mind. You know
It,
what I'm saying? It really
yes,
did. As
it
now
works.
I'm older and I see.
It
Mm-hmm.
works. It works. Again, just having things that in healthy ways of coping with stress. Again, right? Because we were talking about eating, and we were also talking about other substances that could be a go-to. And that's something that I have. I'm talking about at the Health and Wellness Company is truly being alcohol free. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I mean? Because sometimes
Yes.
we might go for the wine, or we might go for a little cocktail. And again, that's totally your prerogative. But sometimes we're bringing in harmful substances to cope with stress, when if we allow ourselves to sit with our feelings, no matter how uncomfortable they may be, and say,
Uh-huh.
hey, what would make me feel better? What can I
Mm-hmm.
start with? Because again, these things are not going to happen overnight. This conversation is just to maybe open up and spread that awareness of there are healthy ways to cope with stress. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
for me personally, running, especially distance running, has become major for me. Uh,
Yes.
Speaking with people who I love and who I trust,
Mm-hmm.
of course, because I've always been a communicator, like I don't really keep things bottled in. So even to
Mm-hmm.
read this from the American Board of Professional Psychology, that
Uh-huh.
these stress issues will now lead us to suppress our emotions, and we know that that's not healthy. It's
Yeah.
not healthy when we suppress anything. We need to let it
Mm-hmm.
out,
Yeah.
face it, and then know, oh, you know what? To me, that's half the battle. Just getting it out. Just talk
Yeah, you
about
know what? My sister gonna get me for this, but my sister Penny, my older sister, she suppressed hers all the time. I'll
Mm-hmm.
be like, girl, you need to get it out. She
Yeah.
told me,
Yeah.
no, I'm like, look, I know I get mine out, okay?
Yeah.
But my
Yeah.
sister, she always been to suppress, like she could suppress it. My mom is good, she could suppress hers. My younger sister can a little bit, but me and her are more like, I'm getting mine out.
Yeah.
She's like right behind me. Then it's my sister Penny, my mom. Then it's my sister Penny. Well, you know what? No, let's switch it up. I think it's Penny, then my mom, because they can suppress it, but not me. I know they gonna be like, girl, kick your butt. No,
And I
I'm
think I
like,
saw Penny on the call too.
no, Sadie gets it out. Dorothea
Yeah.
can suppress hers too, but I am like,
Yeah.
I
I
find
gotta
out.
get it out. Because I don't like the way it feels in my body. Um, you know what I mean? Like we carry that stress in our body. Like you said, we carry it in our weight. We could
Yeah.
carry it in our skin, you
Mm-hmm.
know, we could carry it even this, and this is the activity I do when I'm doing like a breathing exercise
Uh-huh.
and I'm making space for women before we're going to get into our conversation. I say, okay,
Okay.
the first thing we're going to do is I need you to relax in your body. I need you to drop your shoulders. I need you to unclench your jaw, and I need you to soften your forehead
Mm. Mm.
because we don't even realize that even in our natural state, we're carrying stress and tension in our bodies. So it's
Wow.
funny when I say that they're like, "How did you know?" I said because we all do it. A lot of
Yeah.
us automatically clench our jaws, and we don't
Mm-hmm.
just relax our jaws, soften
Yeah.
our forehead, letting our body know we're safe, we're okay.
Yeah.
We got to be
Yeah.
on defense mode, ready to go.
Uh-huh.
Let's
Yeah.
bring it down.
Mm-hmm.
So we
Mm-hmm.
carry stress in our bodies, and me personally, I don't like the way that feels.
Yeah.
A lot of women
Yeah.
might suffer with like chronic pain. That's one of the things.
Mm-hmm.
Muscle.
Mm-hmm.
That's from carrying that stress and not letting it go, not talking about it. Again, I always will encourage therapy, depending on your unique situation, and if you need to talk to
Yes.
a professional to really go through some traumatic or heavy things in your life. But I'm talking about having a friend that's a go-to, like, and holding space for each other. Calling or
Mm-hmm.
texting like, "Hey, do you have a minute? You know, I need something. I need to get something off my chest. Do you have space for me right now? Because sometimes we could offload or unload on people when they're not even in a place to receive it because they got their own stuff going on. So making
Mm-hmm.
it a two-way street of like, do you have some time for me? You know, can we grab a coffee? Can we go for a run or a walk?
Yeah. Yeah.
And be a safe space for each other and know that
Mm-hmm.
whatever you're going to say there is going to stay there. But again, that's trust. You got to trust
Mm-hmm.
people to do that. But
Yeah.
we have to talk about it. We have to talk about why we're stressed, and we have to talk about healthy ways to express it.
Yeah. Yeah. Another thing, and thank you for that. As we get ready to wrap up,
No,
uh,
not already.
I
I'm not done. That time went quick.
it sure did. Oh my God, it sure did. Oh my God. So I wanted to just share some healthy ways of like this Thanksgiving holiday. The holidays is coming up and we're going to be picking out, but
Yes.
it's all kind of all alternatives that's good for us. Like for my candied yams, I use next week I'm gonna bring some things that I use for my actual yams, like the sugars I use, like it's more so like of an organic type of sugar that I use instead of the white granule sugars I
Mhm.
know. So I use the brown sugar, not the brown sugar. It's an organic brown sugar, organic cane sugar. That's what it is. It's not bleached or anything. So it's
Hmm.
all kind of healthy ways that we can cook with this holiday. So we won't. And that was another thing that really sent me that last time. It was like 2 years ago. That holiday in December, child, I was in the ER and I said I want to get past the holidays because I didn't want to ruin the kids' Christmas. If they know I was sick like that, they would have been like, "Let's go to the ER." I knew
Mhm.
that was it for me because I took in so much, and even though I was in and out of the ER for that whole year, but that right there, oh my gosh, that almost took me under because
Mm.
it was so much that I was eating, but it wasn't healthy things that I was eating.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wait a minute, but see, it was just wasn't because of that holiday. It was because just keep building up, and
Yeah.
building
Oh,
up.
yeah.
That right there just put the icing on the cake.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm like, I really had to shift and make some changes for myself. So that holiday really could have taken me out. You know what I'm saying? But because of just not because I was overeating, it was the things that I was eating,
Yeah.
and it was just building up, and that just put the icing on the cake because it was already in my system. And whoo, so I've learned how to cut back on the butters, and it still tastes delicious and scrumptious. I've
Mhm.
learned how to use all different alternatives to cook with instead of using the other things that I cook with. So I just did my researches on food and this, and just what would be more healthy for me. So I just want you all to just be make conscious decisions about what you put in your body this holiday. You can still have scrumptious and good food. Just be mindful of the season, different things that you put in there, that you don't have to overdo it. And also detoxing. I know my phone and my emails and notifications going to be going off because everybody's going to detox come January. So my cold cutting juices, I got them for you. You can detox, okay? Yes, just hit
Absolutely.
me up.
Get that stuff out of there. Get it out of there.
Is it something that you want to add before we end the
Uh,
podcast?
really, no, I thought what you said was great. I
Mm-hmm.
also wanted to recommend, like, if there's any ladies out there who
Mm-hmm.
want to, like, one of their goals is to shed a few pounds, and not even because the new year is coming, but you just feel like you're
Uh-huh.
in that space anyway. I would recommend starting with your beverages, what you drink, because we take in
Okay.
a lot of calories from the juices and the sodas, and even depending on how we make our coffee, that's it could be very high in calories. So
Uh-huh.
I would just recommend find a good alternative if you want to just start, losing some inches. Okay, just start with your drinks. It's water. That's if you're not a water drinker, you have to get there. I promise you though, if it's because it's a 0 calorie drink, so it's the best thing
Mm-hmm.
to drink. But I know for me, when I'm drinking, or I'm sorry, when I'm eating a meal like a dinner or lunch, I need something with flavor. So
Yeah.
even at Thanksgiving dinner, if you realize that a lot of your family or friends they drink sodas or juice, and that's really not what you care to drink, bring your stuff with you. Bring whatever you need.
Yes.
Hopefully a little lower in calories that will satisfy that thirst that you have. Where you don't have to compromise and be like, I don't really want to drink this soda. I don't like all the
Uh-huh.
sugar, but that's all they have. So just kind of
Mm-hmm.
prepare yourself depending on where you'll be having your dinners, your holiday dinners.
Oh, that is good right there. Hello, Tanika. How are you? Another thing I wanted to ask you too.
Mhm.
Do you feel like, in terms of statistics, that Black women suffer with high cholesterol?
So black women and women in general, if these stats are still correct from like 2 years ago, heart disease is the number one killer in women. And again,
Mm-hmm.
uh, anyone watching, don't quote me on that for 2024 because I believe the last time I looked at it might have been like a year to 2 years ago. So yeah,
Okay, cool.
to answer your question, yes, because high cholesterol impacts your heart as well as high blood pressure and heart
So you
disease.
think that's just women in general, not culture?
So I can get back to you because I don't want to say
Mhm.
anything incorrectly, but
Sure, sure, sure.
definitely for black women, high blood pressure, high cholesterol is up there. And
Mm-hmm.
high cholesterol is related to your heart.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say that, and a lot of times they could go hand in hand as well.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would say yes, that high cholesterol is a major issue, and we get cholesterol from meat. So,
Mm-hmm.
that's another thing. Even if I have to be totally transparent, that's something that I've been paying attention to myself because
Mm-hmm.
um,
Mm-hmm.
I was going a little too hard on the bacon, the pork bacon
Okay.
at some point, and my doctor was like, "Hey," and I was like, "Oh no, we can't do this. I
Okay.
don't want to be on those statin pills. No, I don't want
Okay.
to. I don't want to take it." So yes, high cholesterol is definitely a thing. I think heart issues in general, like I said, like the high blood pressure and high
Mm-hmm.
cholesterol, we need to really be making sure that we're getting our blood work done on a regular basis to see where we stand with the
Mm-hmm.
cholesterol, and then try to just cut back on the meats, especially like pork and ham. That could be very high in cholesterol.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I know someone who really doesn't eat the pork and the ham and stuff like that, and still like struggling with their cholesterol. So they've been doing their own research on different ways they can lower the cholesterol. But sometimes your age is a factor because sometimes you go into the doctor's office, they're like, oh, well, they overlooking, you'll be fine. You like, I know, but my numbers are high. Yeah, but you're fine when they look at your age. Oh, you good when you're younger.
And
They sometimes don't.
I'm sorry. That could also be from. I'm not sure if in her case it could be a lack of like exercise and moving around.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes if you're
Okay.
a little too what we would call sedentary, meaning you're not really
Mm-hmm.
active, you're not getting some walks in. That could also affect cholesterol levels as well, where you're not moving because they
Okay.
diet and exercise goes hand in hand.
Sure do.
And I also want to just because I quickly researched that heart disease is a leading cause of death for Black women, with nearly 60% of those aged 20 and older having some form of heart disease.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about like high blood pressure, obesity, as well as the high cholesterol. So I just wanted to
Yeah.
get but yeah, I would be interested to know since she's not eating the meats and things, where else could her cholesterol be coming from?
Yeah, yeah. So they've been doing their own research
Hmm.
on it themselves, and yeah, so which has really been helping them out more so than the doctors, because sometimes you got to be your own advocate. We know that
Oh,
in the
absolutely.
health field.
Oh,
So
absolutely. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
I
So,
love
but thank you everyone for tuning in. I don't know if you all have any questions. Thank you so much, Coach Ty.
you
When
are
we end
so
this
welcome.
podcast, she's going to come back on and she's going to put in the links where you can join her. She has a women. You can tell me about your women's session that you
Yeah.
have again.
Yep. So I have the Safe Haven every second Thursday of the month at 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I
Mm-hmm.
hold a virtual space for women, a wellness space where we're not really getting into the health things. We're getting more so into, like, I would say, wellness things like the importance of boundaries and gratitude and
Mm-hmm.
even stress. Before stress gets into the health issues, we
Mm-hmm.
have been touching on it because again, it just keeps coming up, especially around holiday season. So
Okay.
definitely, for some reason, I can't put anything in the comments, but I
Oh,
will.
you can't.
Yeah, no, it's just giving me a little problem. Um,
Okay.
but I will give you that information for you to post. And of course, anyone you can reach out to me. My website is healthandwellco.com.
Mm-hmm.
HealthandWellCO.com. And all my information is there as well as the registration link for the Safe Haven. I'm really appreciative to you again for just being in this space, having these candid conversations that feel like just regular conversations, right? It's not like
Mm-hmm.
super like I don't know how to explain it. Like it's very down to earth, It
Yeah.
feels like a conversation, even though we're
Oh, thank you. Mm-hmm.
goals,
Yeah.
nuggets, like you said, but it still feels just like, hey, we're just two women, two ladies talking,
having
you
some
know, coffee
having some
and
coffee and
yes,
just
with coffee with me. Thank
Yes,
you so
yes.
much.
That
And
is good.
anybody,
And thank you. Yeah, thank you so much, Coach Ty. So what I'm going to do is when you can text me and then I'll go back and put it on the Hope Victorious chat so you'll know where to find her,
yeah,
all her social media handles. But I wanted to leave this one thing with you all. This is and hello to those who are on YouTube as well. This is Daniel chapter 1 verse 8, and this is when I tell you Daniel was like, I'm not eating from the
right.
king's table, okay? So this is Daniel chapter 1, verse 8, and it says, but Daniel purposed in his heart that he would not defile himself with the portion of the king's meat, nor with the wine which he drank. Therefore, he requested of the prince of the eunuchs that he might not defile himself. May God bless you for reading his word. So you can read the whole chapter of Daniel entirely, the first chapter of Daniel, but I read the eighth verse because Daniel was like, look, I'm not eating from the king's table. And he said to them, listen, if you just give me 10 days with him and his friends, and they did not eat from the king's table. And when I tell you in scripture, it says that their countenance was much more, they were more alert. They looked more nervous than the people eating from the king's table. So he didn't want the meat. He didn't want the wine. He said he didn't want to defile his body because he just ate vegetables. And when I tell you, some people do the Daniel fast, but this is the true Daniel fast where Daniel fast over the years, people have kind of like altered and things like that. But Daniel just straight drank water and ate vegetables. And when I tell you, let me tell you, anytime you can compare yourself somebody else eating from the king's table with the meat and the wine. And here he did with all the stuff, all the green earth of God's goodness, of his vegetables and fruit and stuff like that that he ate. And his body was much more nourished than the people eating from the king's table. So it's okay to push yourself away from a table if you can't sit there and eat what everybody is eating, just so you can protect your peace and also just your body in terms of living a healthy life. So only thing you can do is put the own work in for your own self.
Yes,
Be
yes.
healthy. Find other ways, like Coach Ty talked about, releasing stress, relieving that stress. You know, everybody don't work out, but some people like Pilates, some people like journaling, like as you said, to release that. So, on this, as we approach the holidays, God bless you to everyone, those who have lost their loved ones. And I know it's a difficult time for you. My dad's birthday is actually on Thanksgiving. So, and we be sad, but then we think about all the crazy stuff my dad would say out of his mouth, and we start cracking up because my dad was hilarious. But we still miss him, But and my uncle who just recently passed this year. So I love y'all. Anything else you wanted to add, Coach Ty, or any comments?
No, thank you. Thank you so much to the ladies in the comments. I wasn't able to reply, but I really appreciate all the love and all of just the love that we're getting on here. And thank you again, Reverend Wanda, for having me on this platform. And let's just, we got to surround ourselves with other women we can learn from and be inspired by and have honest conversations. So I thank you for even offering this platform.
You're welcome.
Again, I'm tuning in anyway. It was
today. You be sending me your messages, yeah.
I sure do. Yeah, you be challenged to be like, okay, I guess I gotta throw some things out. So
yes. So So what was the last thing that you said? I'm sorry.
Oh no, I was saying, remember you did the coffee with me where you was telling us to get rid of our old stuff because we be trying to hold on to it. And
yes, girl. Trying to hold on to it. Oh my gosh, yes. I know you said, yes, I got to throw some stuff away. Yes.
And I did.
Oh, good for you. Yes.
So that's why I said, if I wasn't a guest on here today, I would have still been tuned in. So thank you for providing this for us, really, us as women, and always giving that biblical context, like bringing it to life in a way. You know what I mean? It's already in the word, but bringing it into these present day situations that we have to deal with, because it's the Bible for everything. So thank you,
girl, for everything. Yes, you're welcome, and thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Yes. So as soon as we hang up, text me all your socials, and I'll go back in on Facebook on Hope Victorious and put it in. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. God bless you.
God bless you too. Love you.
Love you too. Bye bye.